Well, we couldn't have picked a more beautiful and gorgeous day to wind up here in Apple Valley for an adventure at the Minnesota Zoo. We have been here a couple of times before, but that's okay. There's always something interesting to see at this location that we haven't seen before. Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful day for an adventure. This zoo here in Apple Valley and the one in St. Paul at the Como Zoo are fast turning into a couple of my very favorite locations to do adventures during the summer. And there's always some fun stuff to check out, so that's what we are going to do today. Welcome to another edition of Tommy Travels. It's Tommy Travels! If you are brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing. This should be fun, you guys, so come on with me. Let's go see what there is to see. And the Minnesota Zoo has these street lights that are powered by solar panels. This one is currently on, even though it's during the day. And that solar panel is making it go. I think if they would rig these to also be phone charging stations, they would really be onto something. They've got some flowers here out front and some bumblebees. Look at this guy, hard at work. Hello there. Welcome to Tommy Travels. So here's a map of the area. We are currently here at this star, but as we zoom out, we can see there is quite a trail in front of us. There's the tiger base camp, there's gazelles, camels, there's even a family farm. We're gonna see what there is to see out here today. Some of this may have been shown in my previous video. However, it's a beautiful day at the zoo, so I'm not going to worry too much about repetitive content today. We're just going to have fun and check things out. Well, this could be some new content that we haven't seen before. We have a show starting soon. It's called Close Encounters. I haven't seen it before. I don't know what we're going to experience today, but we're going to find out.
And we're going to get you a little bit closer to animals than you normally would. And the two animals that you're going to be meeting today are famous for their self-defense mechanisms. Our first animal is an animal that if you saw, you'd probably want to keep your distance from. They're really famous for having a couple of black and white stripes, and they defend themselves with a very strong odor. Anybody know what it is? Skunk, yeah. So our first animal is going to be CC. Stands for Coco Chanel. Yeah, I hear a couple chuckles. And CC is a striped skunk. And like I said, these guys, you know what they're famous for, that really powerful self-defense odor that they create. Yeah, they're famous for their stink. But a skunk would prefer not to use that if possible. So if a predator is coming after CC, she's gonna probably hiss, she's gonna stomp her feet, she's gonna growl. She's gonna flare up her little tail and show off those beautiful black and white stripes. Usually when there's high contrast in an animal like that with black and white, they're warning stripes saying stay away from me. If the predator still doesn't get the hint, then she will use that famous spray. So she'll do all of that first, and if it's a bigger predator, she'll even do something really cool. She'll go into a handstand to try and get right at the predator's face. So any predator in the area that gets sprayed with that, all of the prey items in that area are gonna know their whereabouts because they're gonna be able to smell them from quite a long distance away. So an animal that gets sprayed that's a predator might have a really hard time hunting afterwards. There is, however, one animal that specializes in kind of hunting skunks. And this animal is also a mainly nocturnal animal like CC. You'll mostly see skunks out at night. And they're famous for being able to fly really, really quietly. Does anybody have any guesses? Owls, yeah. So the great horned owls are kind of really good at hunting skunks, and that's because they don't have the best sense of smell. So if a great horned owl gets sprayed, it doesn't really bother them as much. So if you actually follow a skunk smell, maybe out in the forest or things like that, it might lead you to a great horned owl nest. You never know. Our next animal that is really famous for, yeah, y'all can clap for it. Our next animal that you're gonna meet is also famous for the way it defends itself. It does have a relative that lives actually here in Minnesota, as well as kind of throughout the United States. But this one is actually the biggest of its kind, and it's found over in Africa. And it actually defends itself with quills. Does anybody have any guesses? Yeah, porcupine. So we're gonna meet Mindy, and Mindy is a African crested porcupine. And like I said, they are the biggest of their kind. We have North American porcupines that actually live here in Minnesota. But these guys are much, much bigger than the North American counterparts. And you'll see why she's called an African crested porcupine when she comes around the corner. Yeah, so this is Mindy. And you can see that nice crest on her. And she also has kind of that same coloration. She has some black and white stripings. That's a really good warning sign for predators in the area. And a big part of what we do out here is training. This is a lot different from what a lot of the other animals at the zoo do. So it does take practice. It is based on a relationship. So we can ask the animals to do what we'd like, but ultimately they have the final say. So we tell them good job whenever they're out here and things like that. We make sure it's a really reinforcing and fun place to be, but ultimately they do not have to be out here. But like I said, she does have those black and white stripes, and you can kind of briefly see that she has a little bit of a skirt, so she's got a couple different types of quills. Those long quills that kind of form her skirt, those are called sensory quills. And what those are gonna do is those are gonna alert her to any of the predators that are kind of in the area. And then she's got some thicker quills underneath that skirt. So once something touches those sensory quills, she's gonna flare all those up. They're kind of like, they're modified hairs essentially. So they have a muscle sheath at the base of them, and she can kind of make them stand up, like if you got goosebumps a little bit. And then those thicker quills down at the base, if she feels something with those sensory quills, she'll actually drive them backwards into whatever predator is there. And those can go about 2 to 3 inches deep. And those have actually, they've earned them the name lion killers over in Africa, because usually when those fall out, those 2 to 3 inch wounds are prone to infection. And it makes it a lot harder for lions to hunt, and actually, if they do get an infection, it can actually be fatal to them. Also kind of underneath the base of those, what we call the business quills, those really thick ones, she's got some hollow ones that are a little bit orangish in color, and those are called rattle quills. So she'll shake her tail back and forth a little bit, and it'll kind of make a rattling sound. Anybody think of a North American animal that kind of makes that sound? Rattlesnake, yeah. So it's gonna alert predators to kind of watch out, like, there's a reason I have this rattle, you don't wanna mess with me. And these guys they'll go find dens and burrows out in the plains of Africa, and then when they sleep, they'll actually face their quills out the entrance of the earth, be the only part that's exposed to the outside world. So if a lion's trying to dig them out of their hole, essentially all they're gonna be faced with is a wall of quills. So a lion will learn very quickly that they don't wanna mess with these guys. And yeah, like I said, those can go about 2 to 3 inches deep. And she does have those kind of black and white stripes on those quills. Those are warning signs. But just by walking in the zoo today, you're helping save endangered rhinos in Africa, and mussels and butterflies in our own backyard. And so I want to thank y'all so much for coming. Yeah, y'all can clap for Mindy. I want to thank y'all so much for coming. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to come up and ask me. If you don't, enjoy the rest of your day at the zoo. Thanks for coming, guys.
Last time I admired this awesome little sculpture structure, I did not know it was also a water park for the kids during the summer. There's even water that shoots out the very top of there as well. Oh, see, they're starting up just on cue. And then that sprays down on all the kids and they have tons of fun. And up on this hill, these are some pronghorn antelope roaming around. just kind of grazing in the grass. Last time we saw these wasn't very close up, so this gives us a little better view of them than we had in the last one. And it looks like it's mom and dad and a couple of little babies walking around there. Very cute. Just having a good old summer day. Oh, and here's something you don't get to see every day. Look at this beautiful Minnesota moose grazing away. And I'm going to do this whole clip without doing any type of a Rocky and Bullwinkle impression. You're welcome. Look at that. Look at that. An Amur leopard.
Can I get it? Yeah.
Hanging out. Didn't get a very great look at him, but very cool. And here we are at the sea otter exhibit. There was quite a ruckus here last time I showed up. There was two guys wrestling and playing together, but today seems more like a relaxing feel. This guy just wants to do the back float back and forth and just be kind of left to himself. Oh, there's another guy right here. Said, hey, wait for me. I'm gonna come up, I'm gonna catch you. They're having a little race, it looks like. Boy, it certainly is a beautiful day for that activity. Holy cow. Look at this. It's the Harlem Globetrotter bear, you guys. Doing some tricks with the basketball. I did not expect to see this today. Hello there, fella. Wow. It's a female?
No, it's a bear.
It's a bear. Okay. Yeah, it certainly is a bear. That is a big bear. Oh my goodness. That thing is absolutely huge. It's like he's playing tricks for the camera. He's trying to spin it around on his foot. Oops. Wow. There it goes. He's got to come up and get it. He's going to get real close here. We're going to get a very good look at this guy. Wow. Look at that. Unbelievable. That was worth the price of admission. This area usually has a lot of monkeys jumping and playing around, but not today. I don't know, maybe it's too hot out for them today. Even though they do have this little water feature, they could play and get some water, but it doesn't seem like they're interested. But that is a nice little serene waterfall they have going there. Well, look at this absolutely gorgeous pond view here today. This is a breeding ground for the trumpeter swan, which is the largest of all swans. And they used to flock all around Minnesota lakes and wetland areas and call Minnesota their home until, well, they were overhunted for their feathers and their meat, and they disappeared in the 1880s. And now they are being brought back right here in Apple Valley at the Minnesota Zoo. That's a nice little story. Hopefully it'll have a happy ending. And if you guys liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. Thank you guys so much for the support that you've given me so far, and until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side.